What is up, Mile High Horseman? This is your leader, Horseman Corwin, and welcome to episode 4 of the Mile High Horseman Show. I got my co-host with me,
Turbo Days.
and we got our special guest for this week.
Hey, Fizzles. Messed that up.
Yeah, we messed it up a little bit.
I didn't know if he was going to say something or not. Your webcam is not on, right?
It's on.
Or not you, not yours, Adrian. Fizzle. I'm talking Adrian here. Oh no, it isn't on.
I don't know what the fuck's wrong with it. It's been giving me trouble.
Okay, well, you can. We'll just maybe I'll just introduce him after you do the episode 4 talk.
Oh, okay.
And I'll say, hey, today,
and then we'll do what we did last time. It's like, what are we going to be talking about tonight?
We got to skip that part because we don't know what we're going to talk about for this newest episode.
Oh, that's right. It's
going to be a while. It's going to be a while, probably a week or something, until we get something on the agenda. But we could definitely say, hey, we're gonna do our interview first off, that sort of thing.
Right.
I can introduce. I could say. I got an idea right now.
Okay, so then in 3, 2, 1. What is up, Mile High Horseman? This is your lead horseman, Corbin, and welcome to episode 4 of the Mile High Horseman Show. I got my co-host with me,
Turbo Days.
And what are we going to be talking about tonight, Jared?
We're going to be having one of our second guest on the show, Fizzle, who has been a video maker with us for 4 or 5 years now. He was with us before the Facebook group came about, and we're glad to have him on the show tonight.
How's it going, my high horseman? Fizzle up in this thing, chilling with my boys, Corey and the Turbo Days here, talk a little Bronco football and whatnot, and whatever else you want to bring to the scene.
Hey, my first question is how did you find out about us on YouTube? I know you were here before the group, but how did you just start watching Bronco videos, and all those other video makers like BJ and Real True 661? Tell us about your first experience, like finding Bronco fans on YouTube.
Wow, be honest with you. This is a twisty event. It was actually a Raiders video, Ice Cube song Raider Nation, that led me to Real True 661's Bronco video, and that's how I became finding out about the TTC and YouTube Sports, and I watched his video, then I ended up watching BJ's and Mr. Kitchen, and then a year later, 2010, I started watching Corin's videos, and I was just like, you know what, I want to get down. I want to start making some Broncos videos, and I had a bad 35-second camera at the time, so I just said, I'm still gonna do it anyway. Do some videos and make sure I got the camera for Christmas. That's 2010, and I was able to do the videos I really wanted to do.
How did you become a Bronco fan, and what year did you become a Bronco fan?
I became a Broncos fan in 1998, but that was the first year I watched the NFL, but my introduction to it was 1997. And my first link to the Broncos was I want to say I was at a Family Dollar or Dollar Tree with my mom, and she bought these action figures, Bronco action figures that have John Elway, Terrell Davis, Shannon Sharp, Bill Romanowski, and Steve Atwater. That was my first ever link to the Broncos. And then when I started watching the NFL in 1998, it was a Bronco game I watched, and basically I just started following them. I became a fan. But solidified was kicking the Falcons' ass in Super Bowl 33. I enjoy every minute of that one.
Who is your favorite Bronco player of all time, and then who's your favorite on the current roster of the team right now, currently?
John Elway off top as far as pass, but as far as defense, I got to get it on Steve Atwater on defense.
Mm-hmm.
Today it'll be Peyton Manning on offense, and was Champ, but he's no longer here. So I would say Terrence Knighton. I'm really a big Terrence Knighton fan. I like the way he plays. He's tough with it. And don't get me wrong, I like Von Miller and all these guys too, but Terrence Knighton is my favorite defensive player on the team right now. I just like the way he plays. especially that sack on Tom Brady in the AFC Championship game.
Yeah.
brutal and nasty. I was like, yes, that's my type of player right there.
Yeah, he could definitely stop the run. He had actually an interview with all of us fans like this past around the time when we played the Patriots last year, and I was able to ask him a couple questions. He was on YouTube and was doing a Google Plus Hangout, kind of just like what we're doing right now, and I was like, wow, that's pretty cool that they're doing that sort of thing. Like talking with the fans and whatnot. So yeah, I'm very impressed with the run defense we had last year.
I seen that same podcast too with Terrence Knight. I know exactly which one you're talking about. I seen that one. And I thought it was cool.
Oh yeah. He's. I mean, what do you think of the run defense on our team last year? I think it was about number 1 in the league, nearly.
I was highly impressed with the run defense. Not so much with the pass defense, however.
Yeah, and
there was a big problem with the Broncos last year. But, now that we have these new guys that we signed, but, when TJ Ward's fucking up, that's a whole different story. That hurts us a little bit. But, I expect the secondary to definitely step up this year, though.
Yeah, what I'm, now I see a pattern. We had Elvis Dumerville, 2 years ago with his Miami road rage incident where he showed his gun to a person that was driving in a car, and then we had Von Miller, and now we have T.J. Ward. So those are some pretty high profile problems, in the off season. What's your take on that, A Fizzle?
It's getting absurd, man. Because I'm not used to being in the off season and hearing about, oh, this Bronco player got arrested, this Bronco player got in trouble, and all. So here, by Von Miller, his issue last year, and also T.J. Ward, his warrants, is getting out of control. And I think I posted on Facebook, it was like, you only been on the team for 2 months, and you're already screwing up. You haven't even played a freaking game in the Bronco uniform, and you're already screwing up. Come on, y'all gotta get your heads out your ass now. I know y'all like to have fun in all season, but it's like, if you feel like you're gonna get in trouble, y'all just need to tone it down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really liking that at all.
What did you think of the Super Bowl loss last year? We might as well talk about that since you experienced it just like all of us.
Hell, it was fucking hell. After Percy Harvin kickoff return for a touchdown, I just said, fuck it, I'm finna start drinking my ass off. I'm gonna watch the game still. I'm just gonna drink until I get drunk, because I already knew that there's no need to. Really try to get my hopes up, and they were like beating down 29-0 by half in the beginning of the third quarter.
Yeah, and then what's crazy about that play was the punter didn't even kick it that hard, and it was like a pooch kick, and then it like bounced on the field, and then it went up in the air, and then he grabbed it. It wasn't like it was sailing high in the sky, and I just thought it was a stupid play and that sort of thing. So. Yeah, you're a big Florida Gators fan. How did you become a Florida Gators fan?
Almost the same reason why I became a Bronco fan. First 2006, the first ever college football game I watched on my own was a Gator game. Because prior to that, I've seen a few college football games here and there. I didn't understand it. It was with my dad and his friends. They're huge college football fans. A lot of his friends are Georgia fans on top of that. So, and I never did like the Georgia Bulldogs. So, when I saw the Florida Gators the first time ever, I rooted them on, and then they won that game, and I just became hooked. And I remember right around my birthday weekend, the national championship was on that year. They played Ohio State, and they beat the crap out of them 41-14. I don't hate Ohio State, but I was so glad to see Florida just play really extremely well that game. It was just phenomenal.
Now you're talking about you're talking about like 2006. There was Tim Tebow with the Gators, and then there was Joakim Noah. There are a few years difference, I guess. But the Gators have always kind of had a sports excellence. Kind of like winning. They usually are winning most of the time, except for last year. What's your take with the Florida Gators last year and the head coach still being around, Muschamp or whatever?
Well, Muschamp.
Yep.
I'm not. Well, never mind that. But the main problem was Brent Pease, whatever the fuck his name is. he was the main problem because the offense was terrible. The defense, they were a top 10 defense. You know, it's only so much they can do on the football field, and it's like, you know, if the offense is not producing, how can you expect the defense can't win for all the time? You know, they can win most, but they can't win it all the time. The offense has to step up. They never did. Brent Pease was a horrible offensive coordinator, and I was glad he was fired. Muschamp, for as far as him, this is his last year on my watch. If the Gators finish less than 9 wins this year, I want him out of here.
Yeah, it was the first time in 20 years that they did not make it to a bowl game, and they were 4 wins and 8 losses. So yeah, they got they got to get back to their winning ways, or they're going to have a hard time recruiting players. So. And now, so have you ever been to any Georgia Bulldog games? Since I'm assuming you're closer to, you're in Georgia. Have you ever been to any Bulldog games or any of the college games yourself in person?
Hell no, I don't go to Bulldog games. And be honest with you, I'm closer to Auburn than I am to Georgia.
Okay.
I'm right on the Georgia-Alabama border. But
Okay.
I have never been to a college football game. The closest I got the chance was going to the Florida Auburn game a few years back. But something else, and I won't ever make it.
You know what's really sad is Georgia Southern. They beat the Florida Gators last year, which was like the lowest down point of their season. But where I live is South Dakota State University. I'm like 50 miles from there, and they beat the crap out of Georgia Southern. When I went to one game, it was like 35-15. And so if the South Dakota State Jackrabbits can beat Georgia Southern by like 20 or 30, and then the Georgia Southern can beat the Florida Gators, and at their home, I mean, that's pretty sad and pathetic. That's pretty sad. So they got a lot. They got a lot to improve on. I mean, they got a lot to improve on. So now, what's up with now? You like to go to Hooters sometimes. Tell us why do you go to Hooters, and like what sometimes you go there for the Bronco games. Are you just feeling like, hey, I should go to Hooters for this Bronco game? And how did you start doing that and whatnot?
Well, when I first started going to Hooters, it was pretty much like every other guy, like look at Hooter girls and all that. But I think one day I just said, I want to go watch a football game. In 2012, Peyton Manning first come here, Sunday Night Football, Pittsburgh Steelers. I went there and they won, 31-19. The following week, I went to the Georgia Dome when the Broncos came to play the Falcons. They lost. The following week, they played Houston at Denver, and they lost. So I was like, the following week, I went back to Hooters. They played Oakland, and they just beat the living shit out the Raiders. But then again, it's the Raiders. Who gives a fuck about them? And, it's like it's coming to increasing pattern. I'm going to the game. I go to Hooters and watch the Bronco games, and they're continuing to win. That's like, I'm on something here. It's like it's some type of magic going on. It's like the Hooters magic. It's like got that going on, and it carried over to this past season as well, except the Indianapolis game. But it carried over as well this year. And I'm really blessed. That I can go to a sports bar, whatever, and watch my team, and they just this type of thing goes on. They just play their ass off. They win.
Yeah. Yeah. What's your question, Adrian?
I was going to say, my question now is, like, what's it like being a Bronco fan in Georgia around so many fucking Falcons fans?
It's awesome, man. My heart bleeds for this team, just like it bleeds for my Braves. It bleeds for my Broncos. I will go to the end defending this team. And Falcon fans, they give me a lot of shit. Oh, you're a Bronco fan? How you become a Bronco fan living in Georgia? How come you're not a Falcons fan? First of all, y'all full of shit. Most of your fans are full of shit, You've seen it on YouTube. Second of all, they can't get along with each other. You've seen that on YouTube as well.
Yeah.
And third of all, you don't win shit. You don't win shit. No one wants to root for a fucking loser. Broncos, you can go on by, they lost 5 Super Bowls, whatever. But the difference between the Broncos and the Falcons is like, these Broncos are constantly contenders. They're constantly contending for AFC West title. They're constantly in the playoffs. They're constantly contending for the Super Bowl. Besides this little 5-6 year run they had, the Falcons they weren't really contenders. They'll go 1 year, they'll have a winning record, go to the playoffs, whatever. then they'll just go back to losing.
Yeah, Matty Ice, without who is it that was injured last
Julio
year? Was it Julio Jones? Yeah, after he got injured, their team was like absolutely crap, and it was funny because I thought since I kind of keep track of the St. Louis Rams a little bit, I thought Steven Jackson had a lot of miles on him from all the running from the Rams, so I thought he would not do so well with the Falcons since he already has a ton of mileage on him, in my opinion. So, and they had a horrible year last year, just not having Julio Jones. So, and they only had Roddy White. So,
To be honest with you on that part, it wasn't so much Steven Jackson. I still think he would have been a good running back for the Falcons that year. The problem was they had a weak offensive line. I seen on the Seahawks Falcons game, and it was one of the Falcons games, Cardinals game. Matt Ryan's running for his life. He's not having enough time to throw the ball, and it results in throwing interceptions. But yeah, the offensive line's not blocking well enough. Steven Jackson, he's not getting anywhere. Jason Snelling, he's not getting anywhere. They rushing offense suffer.
What do you think of Tony Gonzalez? Staying with the Falcons, and he had the opportunity at one point to be traded to another team. Do you think that was the right idea to stay with the Falcons?
To be honest with you, he shouldn't have been in Atlanta to begin with.
Okay.
I think after Kansas City got rid of him, he should have went to a Super Bowl contender. Atlanta is not a Super Bowl contender, so I was really scratching my head on that. I'm like, why there? I'd rather him come to Denver. To be honest with you.
Yeah.
Atlanta's up right now, 1-0 over the Rockies.
For now. Yeah, and so no, I thought he could have been going with Kansas City since he previously was in Kansas City, but he held off on that, and I was just really surprised that he didn't make the move. It's kind of like Adrian Peterson. I'm all scratching my head why he isn't going to another team that's contending for a playoff berth at least. Minnesota's doing nothing.
Well, that issue is with the reason why the reason why he left Kansas City because they went so far downhill. The year before he got released, the Chiefs went 2-14. I guess Tony Gonzalez knew. Okay, they went from 4 wins to 2-14. This team's not winning the Super Bowl anytime soon, and he wanted to get a ring. I can respect the fact he wants to win a ring, and he knows Kansas City was going to be it. Now, as far as Adrian Peterson, I don't know what his deal. He still has 1 more year.
Yeah.
Maybe he finds something, nothing goes right in the next 2-3 years. He'd probably consider going somewhere else.
Yeah, who's your what team do you hate the most, or teams in general?
Raiders and Falcons.
Okay. Mine have always been the Steelers, New England Patriots, Raiders. In whatever order. Those have always been mine.
Now, as far as the Pittsburgh Steelers, I respect their franchise. I respect the players. One of my favorite non-Bronco players is Joe Green. I like the way he was just fierce.
Mm-hmm.
But the fans on the other hand,
oh jeez,
them and the Ravens fans are some of the worst fucking fans I have ever saw in my life. Because with the Steelers fans, they like to rave around their titles. We got 6 Super Bowl titles. 7th heaven, destiny. Man, get the fuck out of here. You finished 8-8 twice now these past 2 years. I don't want to hear anything about your fucking 7th heaven. And then you let Tim Tebow come in and beat you in the playoffs, man. And I'm a fan of Tim Tebow, but at the same time, man, if y'all were as good as y'all say y'all were, y'all would have kicked the crap out of our Broncos in that wild card game. Apparently y'all not as good as y'all thought you were.
They were very, very heavily favored in that.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I remember. It was a crazy game, and I just still remember it to this day. That ending, it was fucking insane. That pass to Demaryius Thomas, one of the only good passes that Tim Tebow ever made. And
Yes.
And ended up being a golden catch and a golden pass, and ended up winning the game for us. But yeah, man, that was a great time to see that game.
That was a miracle.
Yep.
Okay. What's your question?
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Here's a question, dude. What do you think of the Braves and the Rockies right now? What do you think of this series? Do you think you guys are like owning us right now, or do you think it's kind of 50-50? Because you guys do play good at home, like I mentioned in the last show.
Oh, Hell yeah. Be honest with you, man. I think as far as the Braves and Rockies, I got respect for y'all. Y'all playing y'all ass off right now. But as far as this, I think the Braves really own the Rockies big time in Atlanta. But when they come to Denver, on the other hand, I think it's 50-50 in Denver because, like, I see the Rockies. I know one year Atlanta went there and they split the series. And on the last year, it was 2-3 Braves. And that one game Colorado won, they had everything worked right for them. And
When's the, oh,
I don't
go
know
ahead.
why I don't know why they got rid of Dexter Fowler, man. I thought it was really stupid on their end.
What do you like? Yeah, you want to talk about any of the pitchers? I mean, I think your guys' pitching is pretty good
Ooh, dude,
for the Braves.
I gotta talk about Kimbrel, dude. He just tore our ass up the other night.
That's my
We were
boy.
only down by 1 run, dude. But like I said in the last show, when you're down by 1 run against him at the top of the ninth, you might as well be down by 5 or 6 because that dude, you can't get a hit off him. He's insane.
Yes, one of the best in the game right now. I'm really blessed to have him on my team right now. I'm really blessed because this dude plays lights out all the time.
He
Do
closes
you
the door.
do you have a favorite all-time Braves player? Is it like Hank Aaron, or who would you say is your favorite Braves player?
Easy, to be honest with you, it's easy to go with Hank Aaron, but since I came up in the '90s, I would say in my lifetime, I say it'll be Chipper or Andrew Jones. This is a toss-up between those two. And I always liked Greg Maddux, John Smoltz, Tom Glavine as well. But as far as my number one, it's a toss-up between Chipper and Andrew Jones.
Yeah, they were really good players for sure. Yeah. What do you think the Broncos need to do to be successful next year?
Pass defense just need to be better. I think everything else is in place. But just pass defense to be better. Oh, and that special teams too. Special teams took a
Hell,
huge
hell
hit
yeah.
last.
Yeah, the special teams defense was absolutely atrocious. I have to agree with you there. We had lots of problems. I was stating in previous episodes that Trenton Holiday, when he would run it back, we'd get a penalty and then we would be sent back to to wherever 20-yard line or whatever.
I,
So
I would
there's
never.
things like that.
Sorry, Val. I would never forget being at Hooters during the Broncos Colts game. One kickoff, Trent Holiday takes it. He gets about like the 50-yard line, and then where Pat McAfee just nails him big time.
Oh yeah, he got lit up like more than a few times on occasion. So yeah, I was very surprised he wasn't like totally injured in some of those hits that he took since he's so light and small. So what's your you had at least one experience going to a Bronco game. How many games have you been to? Seeing the Broncos in action in real life.
That was my only one.
Okay, and tell us about that experience. Was it a bad game, right?
Yes. Peyton Man 3 interceptions in the first quarter. I like,
Wait,
Falcon fans
yeah, what
are
was your thing? What was your thing about that? What did you think of that?
it was frustrating.
And you met a lot of people, didn't you?
I met a lot of Bronco fans that came down. I also met one of my Facebook friends, Tanya. I met her and her husband. They came down. Her husband's a Falcons fan. They were really cool people. Then I got my Bronco bro in Columbus, Roberto. I seen him at the game as well. We chopped it up. All four of us. Tanya and her husband. We all chopped it up a little bit. Talk a little Bronco football.
Yes.
I think as far as that, it was a perfect experience. I just wish the outcome of the game was a lot different though.
Yeah. Do you have any plans on seeing a Broncos game in the future in Denver, or have you ever planned on that? I know you were talking about going to a Dallas Cowboys game. Is that ever going to come to a fruition?
Well, we got 7 more years before the Broncos go down to Dallas. But I do. I always have aspirations to come to a Bronco game in Denver. And the closest I came, I was in a contest. If I won, I would have went to a Broncos game in Denver when they played the Cleveland Browns in 2012. But I hope somehow in holy hell that I can catch my house with tailgate when the Broncos play the 49ers.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude, that'd be cool to hang out with you, man. Real talk. Just sit back, have some beer or some shit, man. Talk some Broncos football. That'd be pretty badass to meet you. So
Yeah,
yeah, man. If you go to any
I would
games
like to
this
meet
year,
y'all too,
just be
though.
sure to stop by, man.
Yeah, I would like to meet y'all too, though.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. We have a really good time, and it went really fast, right, Adrian? It went really quick.
Oh,
Like
dude, time flew, dude.
we were like, I almost wanted, and unfortunately, I wanted to like go to like where the players come into the stadium. I almost wanted to do that and get some autographs or something, but time flew by so much. We were hosting the tailgate party, and yeah, it didn't. It seemed like the day went super quick before the game started. So, um, epic experience. Definitely going to do it this year at some point. One way or another, I'm going to a game.
All
We'll
right,
make it. We'll make it happen.
here's my thoughts on that. Last year, I'm glad y'all had a good time. I'm glad y'all got a chance to meet Christina. Wish I had a chance to meet her too. But being that I really wanted to beat her so bad, it was just so painful for me to watch our video of that
Oh
tailgate. I,
yeah.
I just could not watch it, man. It was just painful for me. Like, damn, I wish I was there with them. It's
Uh,
hearing that.
Yeah, I'll be honest. At the end of that video that I made, I was like ready to cry because it was really memorable. It was very, I mean, it wasn't just watching it with Adrian, but like, and what sucked is we watched it like four or five rows away because the tickets sold so fast. That Monday Night Football game or whatever. So, but yeah, it was memorable nonetheless. Like, he talked about the fourth down that was near the end zone for the Raiders, and we stopped. The Broncos stopped them. That was pretty awesome, and really good plays from Eric Decker, since I remember. And Julius Thomas as well. It was good seeing him get a touchdown. To me, he's one of my favorite players of the Broncos currently, of course, that sort of thing. But yeah, anything else you want to talk about, Adrian? Do you have any other questions for him?
No, just pretty much saying like pretty much what you said, man. I mean, just first seeing that stadium when I was riding in the bus going down that highway, and I first seen Mile High Stadium, I was just like, oh my god, I can't believe it. This is actually happening. I'm actually going to be there. And then during the game and during the tailgate, I was just getting kind of, like you said, I was getting a little bit teary-eyed too because, I was thinking, man, what if my grandpa was here to see this? I was getting like, I was starting to miss him a lot and shit like that. And I was like, wow, man, this is just awesome. And then watching the game, and like you said, that fourth and goal that the Raiders went for it, and the whole place was jumping. Everybody was yelling and screaming. It was extremely loud. It was a great experience, and I look forward to doing it again this year. It's going to be awesome.
You know what's really crazy though is that now that I think about it, to like I felt I was really comfortable with all these different fans. Watching Broncos football over the years on television. I just felt like I knew what they were talking about, and
Mm-hmm.
and I felt like I wouldn't say it was like family, but pretty much. I mean, it pretty much felt like this is the perfect team for me, and just felt like I could talk with anybody about Broncos football and get along with about anybody. So.
It's like you already knew him already. Like if you knew him
Yeah.
forever, yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, no, that's how I felt when we did that tailgate party. And Blake Bryant, like I've been mentioning, he just he opened the door for us to be able to host. For him, he provided the food. He went above and beyond anything that I ever wanted. He had the lot for us, which cost like $32 for parking, and it was really nice that he was nice enough to let us do it together. So I mean, he doesn't live that far from Mile High, which I really am jealous about, but he's like a couple miles from the stadium or whatever. But and you actually, hey Fizzle, if you ever go there, the I'll just tell everybody you can go to Denver International Airport, go to rtd-denver.com. They have a bus route that comes. They have a bus that comes to Denver International Airport. It's like $11-12 to get from there to downtown Denver, or to the stadium actually, because you can transfer from bus to light rail one way for no charge, so you don't even have to pay for a light rail ticket. and it takes you right to the stadium. And it doesn't you go past the Pepsi Center and downtown Denver, and it'll tell you where you pretty much go from the bus right to the light rail. It's only like it's half a block away. You'll see the light rail when you get off the bus, and it tells you, and it comes in 30-minute increments. So if you miss the bus at the airport, you just got to wait another 30 minutes to get onto the next one. So
it's kind of like Atlanta Airport, you know, when like trying to go to places in Atlanta. It's basically like that. And
yeah.
I had a layover in Denver. I mean, because I was going to Alaska, see my family, and coming back home. And I had that little hour or two in Denver. It kind of felt like, from an NFL standpoint, I was home because like I'm in the same city as my Denver Broncos, even though I'm not going to a game. I'm not going to interact with the Denver residents. I still kind of feel like I'm at home. This is like I'm with my team. I just started stacking up a whole bunch of Broncos stuff when I was at the airport.
Yeah, I actually I got a Broncos bumper sticker. I posted a picture. It said like Bronco Maniac or something. I bought one of those.
Yeah.
It was pretty cheap. It was only like $4, but man, a lot of the stuff at Denver International Airport is very jacked up in price. Of course, everyone knows that. But yeah, I mean, if you don't get any, Broncos merchandise around, where you live, like in Atlanta or Georgia, I mean, I would probably stock up on that stuff too. Besides getting it off the internet. So.
Oh yeah, I get Bronco stuff every chance I get when I see it on malls in Atlanta and Savannah, Macon, throughout Georgia. Every chance I get, I'm getting it. I said about 30% about at least a good 30% of 20 to 30% of the stuff, my Bronco stuff I own, came from Georgia. And the rest of it is like either from the Denver airport or the store my cousin told me when I was in Alaska. It's called Excalibur Sports.
Mm-hmm.
She like, because my uncle's a Cowboys fans, she's showing them that same stuff, a whole bunch of Cowboy stuff. And I seen, and she like, Fizzle, you see, they got all these Bronco stuff. I know you're a diehard Bronco fan, because I got this drinkware set, with the coffee mug and the shot glass and the regular glass. And I also got this Bronco. I also got this Bronco koozie that, as y'all probably seen in my pizza, beer, and soda video.
Mm-hmm.
I got that from Excalibur Sports, and this and the Broncos banner that y'all seen in like a video too. It also came from Excalibur Sports. I think everything else either Denver or here in Georgia or online.
What question? I have a question. Who do you think, like Peyton Manning? Who do you think should be the quarterback after Peyton Manning? With maybe the available quarterbacks we have at this moment.
Yikes. That is really tough to answer because I seen Brock Osweiler. Oh, damn, I'm smashes with Brock Osweiler in that Oakland game. He did not look that good, and I haven't seen anything from Zach Dyser yet. And plus, y'all, I don't know if y'all noticed that they also picked Bryn Renner, the rookie from out of North Carolina.
Okay.
I like the way he played up in North Carolina. I seen him play against Miami this past year. He was really lighting it up until they kind of fell off in the fourth quarter and kept Miami in the game. They ended up winning, but I say if this Bryn Renner guy, if this game indicates he's gonna be in the NFL, I said ride with him. Let's see how he's gonna do. But as far as like who should be the quarterback, it's really tough. I gotta see Renner play and I gotta see Dyson play before I make a decision.
Maybe this preseason will be a big, decision on like maybe who's going to have the reins at quarterback when Manning leaves, Because what I hope it doesn't turn into, but I think it's going to turn into, no matter what, is like the Brian Greasy coming after Elway, or Bubby Brister coming after Elway, or
Brian Greasy. That was one tough motherfucker.
I actually didn't mind him. But I know some people might disagree with me on that one.
I mean, I thought he was all right, but like I said before, like I mentioned before, he tripped over his dog and fell down the stairs and broke his ankle.
I think we had problems at quarterback until we got Jake Plummer. That's just my opinion.
I think the problem with me, only problem with Brian Greasy, I think he was trying so hard to live up under the shadow of Elway, trying to break that shadow, and he just didn't really post at the best of numbers.
Yeah, and getting Peyton Manning for like, where he's expected to stay for like 4 or 5 years at least. And in one of my videos I stated, have we had a quarterback for 4 or 5 years? I mean, it's been a long. I mean, we had Jay Cutler, we went through Kyle Orton. I mean, we went through a lot of quarterbacks until we could actually have one that could maybe stay with us for 5 years. I mean, that's like a whole decade until we finally got, over a decade before we got a quarterback that's like can stay with us for a little longer than just a few years.
To
So
answer your question, this team has after Elway retired, this team has never had a quarterback stay on the team for over 5 years.
yeah.
I thought Jay Plummer was gonna break that cycle, and then he ended up going to Tampa Bay the following year, lost his job to Jay Cutler. That crybaby, I'm glad he's off the team. I know he posted good numbers, but he was always such a rat.
Yeah, I liked Jay Cutler back in the day, at first, and I guess someone's, and that's during the time they got rid of Brandon Marshall, and I know Brandon Marshall wanted a lot of money, and that's why he went to Miami. And when they got rid of Jay Cutler, I was kind of heartbroken at first, but then later on I found out that he's not a leader. You can all see that with the Chicago Bears, and I could easily bet money during the NFC Championship game that he was going to lose with him as quarterback. I just knew it because he led at one point the most interceptions for a quarterback since like 2008. He led that statistic for most interceptions by a quarterback. So I think, and my how what I thought about him was he tried throwing it into deep or tight spots, and he took too many risks throwing it into small holes, and he'd get burned with the interception. So that's my take on Jay Cutler.
And here's another thing, dude. Like, whenever he makes a fuck up, dude, he'll always blame it on somebody else. It's never his fucking fault. That's one thing I can't stand about the guy. He never takes accountability for a fuck up he makes.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I mean, he wasn't showing signs of leadership, and people were pointing at him, during that NFC Championship game for being on the sideline and, being on the sideline is not active and playing, the game. So
I just remember Caleb Hayden coming in and doing worse in that NFC Championship game. It's
Yeah.
like I disagree with you, Turbo. I think if had Jay Cutler stayed in, they probably would have won, but not by much. They probably would have won and went to the Super Bowl, but they would have got their asses handed to them by Pittsburgh. But I knew he left, and Caleb Haney came in. I was like, oh, this team's spot. They're not going anywhere.
Oh, now I'm thinking about the worst beatdown that I remember, and that was against the Steelers in the AFC Championship game with Jake Plummer. That was such a beatdown for the Steelers to go to the Super Bowl and end up beating the Seahawks back in like 2006.
You gotta admit though, man, that whole year though, the Broncos, they really got back on track that year, and we had a good defense that year, and everybody always likes to forget about what Jake Plummer did for the Broncos.
I liked him.
Oh yeah, I thought he was a pretty good quarterback. He just didn't have the receivers that John Elway had. I mean, we only had like a fraction of what we had. We had
Brandon Lloyd. I think he was on them.
But the only last one we had of those two was Rod Smith, and I think he retired.
Ashley Lilly. I remember those.
Ashley Lilly was one of them. Yep.
Yeah.
And then I think he went to the Falcons or something like that, and then he disappeared off the face of the earth after after he left or whatever. So
2005 was such a blur to me because, remember, I was 15 at the time. When you're a teenager, you're more interested in girls and sports and all that. 2005 was such a major blur. But luckily, I caught on just in time for the playoffs, and I seen that Patriots game. Champ Bailey taking 99 yards back before getting knocked out by Benjamin Watson.
Yeah.
Yard line. I had to admit that gave me shivers. It's like this could be the year. And
that was an awesome game to see, man. And then we were just one game away from going to the Super Bowl. But we fucked it up, we gave it up to the fucking Steelers, and and they ended up winning the Super Bowl, which makes it even worse. So yeah, and then you got all the fucking Steeler fans, chirpy. Oh, we got 5 Super Bowls, and then they end up beating the fucking Cardinals.
Yeah,
and then they got 6 of them, and now they don't ever shut the fuck up about that.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
one of the reasons why I can't stand their fucking fans.
Yeah, speaking of their fans, they won a Super Bowl in 2005. And 2006 they come in. We got 5 Super Bowl rings. We got 5 Super Bowl rings. But people seem to forget. Going into that 2006 season, if I'm not mistaken, y'all lost to a 2-14 Raiders team. How you go from winning the Super Bowl again, losing to the worst Raiders team of all time, man? They ought to be embarrassing themselves.
They've lost to the Raiders recently quite often. I think like the past 2 or 3 times they've lost. Like,
on top of that, when they sit Super Bowl after they beat Arizona, they go to the following year and lose to a bad Raiders team again. And yeah, that is becoming a trend now. It's like they can beat some of these elite teams, but when it comes to Oakland, you can't beat them. Everybody else can beat Oakland. Why can't you?
Yeah, it's a very good point for sure. Definitely. Anything else you want to talk about, Adrian, that you can think of? There's a lot. I mean, it's a lot to discuss. A lot that we've talked about.
I'll edit this part out because we're just trying to think of something to say.
Yeah. Now, let's see here. Hold on. Oh yeah, what did you think of Mike Shanahan leaving the Broncos during that period when Jay Cutler was around? And then, oh yeah, the McDaniel days. We should talk about that a little bit. Wait, what's your take? What's your take on those? On the one of the worst years of our career?
I'm pretty sure everybody knows. I'm getting Shanahan first, man. After he got fired, I was sad, man, because Mike Shanahan, at that time. He, at that moment, he was the best coach in the NFL, in my opinion. I appreciate everything he's done for this team throughout the 14 seasons. Yeah, 14 seasons he was here. Even before I got into football, I heard about what he did in '96. 13-3, loses before they lost to the Jaguars that game. But at the same time, he was on a decline. Not kind of. He was on a decline. That defense was ranked 29th. And then, you had that epic collapse. 3-game lead in the AFC West with 3 to play. You not finished.
You had to win one game.
Yeah, I was so heartbroken when that collapse happened. So yeah, I was sad he left, but at the same time he's on decline. So it was on a clean house.
I mean, like the last thing that we saw from him. Like, that was the real Mike Shanahan that we remembered, that the real genius of Mike Shanahan was against the Raiders in Week 2 of 2007, I believe, when he called timeout before the Sebastian Janikowski got the kickoff, and then they missed it the very next fucking try because they had to try it again. That was the old Mike Shanahan we were used to seeing.
I remember that one.
Dude, I have that game on tape, and I was like, holy shit, I can't believe it. And then the Broncos ended up winning that game. But, yeah, and that was like the last bit of Mike Shanahan we saw. That was the real Mike Shanahan that we were used to seeing. And after that, like you said, he kind of became
turned into Champ Bailey. He kind of got like bad at the last of his years with the Broncos, and I mean, yeah. So it was, yeah. They had an epic collapse, and during that time, we got rid of Brandon Lloyd, I believe. That was after. That was after. My bad. And, we got rid of Brandon Marshall.
Yeah. Okay. Now, as far as this other guy, I really don't want to talk about.
Oh,
he was. I hate to say it. I'm going to say he is the worst coach in the NFL. I thought Bobby Petrino was bad with the Falcons in 2007. Josh McDouchebag takes the cake. The worst coach in the NFL. I thought. I mean, I'm be honest with you. I was riding the train in 2009 when he got.
We were 6-0.
So I was riding the train. I said, okay, I'm starting to like this guy. And then he couldn't. That was his peak. He started fucking up the defense. The defense suffered. He started changing shit around and all that. And then the solidified me hating this guy was the scandal against the 49ers when he trying to bring that New England Spygate bullshit over here to Denver. I didn't like that shit. I didn't know. It's like, you gonna do the Spygate shit, take your ass back to Bill Belichick and do that shit over there. This is a classic franchise. We're not gonna have you disavow the class that this franchise has. Pat Bowlen, us as fans, we're not gonna put with that bullshit. So you know, it's like get the fuck out of here. And I was glad when he got fired. I was so fucking relieved he was gone.
Yeah, Pat Bowlen is a really classy freaking owner. I'm really glad we have him as our owner. Yeah, like Josh McDaniels, it was the first time that a team went 6-0 and didn't make the playoffs. They were 2-8 after the second half of the season.
Actually, that was the second team that went 6-0 in this playoffs.
Oh,
no, third. Because people forget the '78 Redskins also went 6-0. Then they had a collapse, finished 8-8. But then again, look at who their coach was. Jack Pardee. He was like a friendly coach. You know, he wasn't really motivated. He's no Tom Landry. He's no Vince Lombardi. If they ain't Servo, you should know this. 2003 Vikings, Mike Tice. They started 6-0, then they finished 9-7 because they lost a lonely Arizona team. And you know what basically?
Oh yeah, I remember that game actually.
They were up 17-6 with 2 minutes left. All you had to do is just keep Arizona in the end zone. You win the playoffs. Yep. They couldn't even do that.
Yeah, I get a good laugh out of those Minnesota Viking fans. I'm like 8 miles from Minnesota, and we have where I live has the second most season ticket holders for the Minnesota Vikings. So we got a lot of Viking fans where I live in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. So yeah, Mike Tice, horrible head coach. There hasn't for the Minnesota Vikings. They haven't had a head coach really since Dennis Green.
Dennis Green is a funny guy though.
Yeah, he was cool. I didn't mind him, but So 2010 we lost we were 4 wins and 12 losses. 12,
yeah, dude, that was a really really bad year.
I never like to talk about 2010, and I never like to talk about that year as far as Broncos because I want to block out that year so bad because it was just I think everything that went wrong from Josh McDouchebag to the defense and to the demolition against Oakland. That's gonna be the only time I bring that up. It was just everything that went wrong went wrong.
I was just about to say that. What could go wrong went wrong, and it was bad. I mean, we just couldn't win a game. It was just a horrible year. But the thing is, we all stuck with the Broncos even after that. So that shows that we're not bandwagoners. We still stuck with this team. Even after all that bullshit with Josh McDaniels and everything like that, that just shows that we're diehard fans. We didn't go anywhere. We didn't like what we saw, but we still stood with this team.
Yes, exactly. And then there is a ton of what we could call them new Bronco fans that that have gone from Peyton Manning, from Indianapolis with the Colts, and I see more at the games now. It seems like. And that sort of thing. I know a lot of people love one athlete in general, but yeah, I don't. What's your take on that, A Fizzle, about a team, a fan that goes to another team based on one player leaving?
I have a shitload of pet peeves, and one of my main pet peeves is bandwagon fans. Now, I cannot stand that shit. And what really pisses me off is when being a Broncos fan in Georgia, a lot, they like to throw that tag on me, and that really pisses me the fuck off. Like when people call me a bandwagon fan, like blackjack lover, man, it's if you don't, you got to do your fucking background on me before you start penning back bandwagon, because I've been with this team since 1998. I've seen the Josh McDouchebag years. I've been through it all. I can tell you shit that you probably didn't know I knew.
Yeah.
Now, now to answer your question, these bandwagon fans want to come over, because they like Peyton Manning. My dad actually has a friend who did that, and it's like, no, I understand you like one player, but don't come around talking about, oh, you're a Bronco fan. But you just say you're a Peyton fan, okay? I would have been a little bit acceptable of that. Okay, you're a Peyton fan, that's fine. But don't come over and like, oh, I'm a Bronco fan. I've been a Bronco fan since 2012. I'm not buying the shit. I'm pretty sure 90% of this fan base is buying it either.
Let me say something, all right? And I'm gonna go and I'm probably in a mini tirade right here because this really gets under my fucking skin. If you didn't grow up a Bronco fan, if you didn't, for some reason, when you were younger, like no older than 10 years old when you became a Bronco fan, and you just decided to become a Bronco fan, just because Peyton Manning or just because we were doing good, you make me fucking sick to my stomach. You make me want to vomit, and you have no fucking reason, no business being a part of our fan base at all. I can't stand bandwagon fans. They are the most disgusting pieces of fucking garbage I have ever seen of any fan base, not just the Broncos fan base, but any fan base. That includes Steeler fans too. I can't stand bandwagon fans, and I don't care if you are a quote unquote bandwagon Bronco fan. I do not consider you a part of this fucking franchise, this part of this fan base, and I need you to get the fuck on. Period.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's exactly how I feel, man. Get the fuck out of here and stay the fuck out of here. We don't want you because in the words of damn, never mind.
There's gonna be good times and bad times, so you better get ready for the bad times when they come, you know.
Sorry, that's some of my words earlier, but yeah, they can get the fuck out because us real Bronco fans, we were doing just fine without you. Now get out. The same thing for you bandwagon Gator fans too. Get the fuck out of here.
And you know what, dude? What's fucking frustrating, dude? I asked somebody who I was talking Broncos with because they were kind of acting a little sketchy about what they were saying. Because like I don't know who I don't kind of know some of them by names, but you know I've been watching them for a long time. It's like, oh really? Okay. Do you know who Ed McCaffrey is? Oh, was he a running back?
My God!
Fucking retard! I was like, honest to God, dude. I said, go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself.
Back ways.
Oh yeah, we can't forget about Ed McCaffrey.
Oh, Ed McCaffrey was a beast, man. I like, man. This dude was just a straight up beast, man. I think in the late '90s, during the Super Bowl run, man, I think not only the Broncos had the best offense in the league, in my opinion, but they had the best receiving corps with Ed McCaffrey and Carswell and Shannon Sharp and Rod Smith. You know, it was that was just an awesome receiving corps.
Oh yeah.
Hey, quick question. Besides Elway, who during that time who was your favorite between Rod Smith, Shannon Sharp, Ed McCaffrey, Terrell Davis, and
my second favorite Bronco was Shannon Sharp.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, dude,
definitely.
there's so many to choose from for me. I loved them all, but I gotta say my second favorite from Elway. I know, man, it's up there with Rod Smith, just like you said, Shannon Sharp, all the old school guys. But I gotta go with Terrell Davis, man. I just love that dude, and you know, he had that 2,000-yard season. It was just an amazing fucking season that year for him, and he's the one that made the Mile High Salute. So you know, I gotta go with that. So yeah, but man, I mean, I can't say nothing. But I always gonna love those other guys like Terrell Davis. I mean, not Terrell Davis. Shannon Sharp, you know, Ed McCaffrey, Rod Smith. Fuck, all the old school guys from the '90s, man. I mean, that was just my shit. And you know, I can't. Like I said, it's really hard to choose between my second favorite, but I gotta say Terrell Davis though.
Yeah. What do you think of Roger Goodell? With him as commissioner, and then the owners also changing rules to the NFL game, making it safer, you know.
He's a pussy. No, sir.
Okay.
I mean, it's fucking football, man. It's fucking football. This is the way I see it. When you put your fucking name on that dotted line, that means that you're clearing the NFL of any wrongdoing because of any concussions or bullshit that you get later on in your life. You chose to play this fucking game. You chose to take the fucking hits. Stop being a fucking pussy and stop looking for a quick fucking payday. Grow a fucking set and shut the fuck up. And fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you, Roger Goodell.
Yeah, they changed.
That's why I let Corey have that because everything he says is the same way I feel, man. I'll just left it at him being a pussy. No, sir.
Yeah, we get so many touchbacks now, right? A-Fizzle?
Exactly.
Yeah, from the kickoff returns, there's so many. It's like you might as well just start it at the frickin' 20-yard line now, and they're trying to like change the length of the field goal. You know, there's rumors about that, and every single year now it's changing. It seems like, and it seems like it is going to the war. You know, it's going to be worse and worse every year if they keep it up. And I think it's going to turn off enough NFL fans to where they're going to be looking somewhere else for entertainment for sports. You know, I might love the Broncos, of course, but if the game's so like pussified or whatever you want to call it, I mean, that's going to turn me off. I'm going to almost want to, then it might deter me from wanting to go to a game in the future. You know, if they keep, diluting the game that has been around for over 100 years. You know, I feel it should be just like it was, back in the 1950s and 60s. You know, crushing skulls and taking hard hits. You know, so that's my take on it.
I miss Pete Rozelle. I miss Pete Rozelle. Because he was balls out, man. He wasn't afraid to go up against Al Davis and some of these other cats who dared test him. He was a hardcore ass commissioner. And I wish he was still alive, and that way he could still outside bring him back to be commissioner. Even Paul Tagliabue is decent. But I'm not gonna stop watching NFL. I'm gonna be like, get rid of Goodell. Let's get somebody else up here. That's how I'm gonna feel.
Yeah. I don't know what it takes to actually get, actually kick out a commissioner, man. It'd take a lot of. I don't know if it, yeah, okay.
He can do what Donald Sterling did. Now I'll get him out of
there. Oh gosh. Yeah. Yeah. We're gonna try to hire some hitman to.
I know people.
Oh yeah, and Pueblo. Okay. Oh boy. Let's see here. Anything else, Adrian, for questions with A-Fizzle?
No, man. I think that's pretty much it. I think we pretty much summed up everything, man. I think this is a pretty good episode. I think this is what we're gonna pretty much do for the next episode. Is just this, because I mean, there's nothing else to talk about.
Yeah. Well, thank you, A-Fizzle, for being on the show.
I got one more thing to talk about before.
Oh yeah. What would you like to talk about?
Some of y'all may know, but I'm also writing a book about the 2012. And I'm also writing another one about the 2013 Denver Broncos, kind of like from a fan standpoint, how I felt about the 2012 season and how I felt about 2013 season from my experience, from watching the game at home to talking to some of y'all on YouTube, Facebook, mm-hmm. Twitter, and even the Hooters. I told some I was writing a book at Hooters one time, and some of the Hooter girls was asking about it, and I was just so straight up. And I also told them that they got their own chapter because y'all were some of the big reasons, and y'all was part of the big reason why the magic was going on every time I was there. The Broncos would win. They would play good. Offense would play good. Defense would play just as good. I was just kind of capturing everything.
Where would we be able to read this book or books that you're writing for us?
As soon as I get a publisher, hopefully it'll be sooner than later.
Okay. All right. How many pages is it?
I'm still writing it.
Okay.
Right now, 2012 got about like over 100 pages, but that's still working. 2013, I got 64 right now. I'm working on chapter 8, which is week 7, the Broncos Colts game. Talk about watching the game at Hooters and Trenton Holiday getting blasted by Pat McAfee. And also, Peyton Manning's homecoming, his return to Indianapolis in the Bronco uniform.
Oh, yeah, we all know that. I thought it was a special moment with Peyton Manning, coming to his old team, but after that, that was enough for me. And, and Adrian stated in the previous episode, how he felt about it, and it was not a good game for the Broncos. We all know that. But that one, him seeing his old fans, thank him for his time there. That was cool. I thought, it was historic, I think, or memorable at least, and a part of his career history. So, but also I do, like I've said in other videos and stuff, I don't care about his legacy anymore. After the Super Bowl, I could give two shits about his legacy, it being on ESPN. Oh, will it affect his legacy? Well, it has affected his legacy. You know, losing the second Super Bowl. So now I just don't even care anymore. So stop, playing it on ESPN. I could get, ESPN's changed like big time.
I don't really watch ESPN anymore. The only time I really watch ESPN is when like Monday Night Football or
First Take,
NBA, WNBA, or college baseball, like I'm kind of watching right now with the Gators.
I don't even watch First Take, dude.
Oh,
yeah, I don't like First. I don't like First Take really anymore.
Skip Bayless is such a fucking retard, dude. Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
I watch it. I get a good laugh at it from time to time, but sometimes Skip Bayless does say retarded shit, man. Really, Skip?
All they talk about is like LeBron James, and back then they used to talk about Tim Tebow all the time. And
that'd be Skip. Stephen A. would get out of here talking about Tebow.
Stephen A. was talking about racism, like a huge part of the episode was like last week was about racism with Donald Sterling. It's like, come on, guys, I wanted to either listen to talk about any sports, or to me ESPN should be just show me the games that I want to watch, and that's it. I don't want to go in depth. I don't need to know about the people's lives off the field or on the field.
Posted somebody on I think you did a YouTube video about that, and I agree with you. I think yes, nobody cares about this Make-A-Wish Foundation. All right, man. This isn't the Make-A-Wish channel. This is ESPN.
Yeah,
I think they face super competition. Over the past 10 years. NFL Network. Now all of a sudden MLB Network comes along, NBA TV, NHL Network, something that you probably not watch.
I actually like watching. I already said NBC Sports Network, but also I like Fox Sports 1 quite a bit.
Yeah, I'm about to bring them up too, though. Last year, NBC Sports Network and CBS Sports Network and Fox Sports 1. These cats are coming up, and they're gonna get ESPN run for their money.
ESPN is dying. They're dying, dude.
Yes, I think so. I think actually they've been losing employees. They had to fire some longtime employees. Some guy named he had a show called Stump the Schwab, which was on ESPN Classic. And
Matt Schwab, that's what they fired.
Yeah, yep. He was a employee for 30 years, and they gave him the axe and told him to leave, or they cut ties with him. And ESPN's a part of ABC and Disney now, so so them and ABC are affiliated with one another. So
now it makes sense.
Yeah, that makes plenty of sense.
Disney buys everything. Marvel.
They even bought Lucasfilms, but that's a different story for another time.
Yep, they got the money. So, but ESPN, they just emphasize on NBA, Major League Baseball, and NFL. That's mainly it.
I do agree with this, Turbo, and some of the hockey. Maybe you too, Corin. I know you like the Avs as well, but I agree with a lot of y'all hockey fans on this. I'm not really a big hockey person, but I am a Tampa Bay Lightning fan. But ESPN, this is another reason why you're dying, because somehow between 2000 and 2009. You stuck at fork in NHL. You're holding back on showing NHL games. You turn a lot of hockey fans off with that. You got your football, you got your basketball, you got your baseball, you got your NASCAR. Yeah. But where's the hockey? Who wants this NHL on ESPN too as well?
Yeah,
exactly. That's one big problem I've had with ESPN for the past few years, and that's why I don't like it very much, because they don't cover hockey practically ever.
Well, they have real sports, Adrian, like the Spelling Bee and Texas Hold'em.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. I can't wait to see that.
The Spelling Bee? That's not a sport. I seen that on ESPN. I was like, what the fuck? Who the fuck cares about... What sports fan cares about a goddamn Spelling Bee? Now, I do, because I want to feel in my day, but I don't care about it that much to watch it on ESPN. That should be on like ABC or something like that, CBS.
Exactly. Like
fucking kids like Nick Jr. or some bullshit. Like fuck. Not fucking ESPN, bro. Like
they'll probably start showing chess matches at some point.
Oh my god.
They probably start showing that 4 as well. And Monopoly and Battleship and all that.
I'm not shitting you guys. A long time ago, I think they had a Scrabble tournament or championship on ESPN one time. I could not. I'm not even kidding you. Like,
holy shit.
Like this word is worth, this word is worth this many points and that sort of thing. So
yeah, how about this word?
That's why you're falling off ESPN. That's exactly why you're falling off.
Yeah. All right, guys. Let's see. We're gonna wrap it up from here, or?
Yeah, I'm just gonna emphasize, there are many other sports out there in the world. I look, when sometimes I stream the Bronco games online. I found out there's many other games many more sports out there in the world. I actually like this one game called Team Handball. It's pretty much like it's like the basketball, except there's a goal, kind of like soccer, and you throw it into the goal. I love that sport. Rugby. I mean, they could be showing a lot more sports out there, and one I do not like, no matter what, is cricket. I think that's a messed up sport, and whoever thought of cricket. I don't know what they were on when they thought of the rules, but there are as many sports out there that ESPN should cover, and that's why they're probably losing their fans. So that's it for me.
Yeah, screw ESPN. Until y'all start getting y'all shit together. I'll be watching Fox Sports one with Turbo Days.
Yeah. And I think that's it for this interview.
All right, guys. Well, that's gonna pretty much wrap it up from here. I want to again thanks okay, let me try that again. All right, guys, that's going to pretty much wrap it up from here. I want to thank our guest, Steve Fizzle, for joining us tonight. Hey, Fizzle?
I thank y'all for letting me get on,
Oh, yeah, man. It was good talking with you, man. That was a lot of fun. Check out our Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/Mile High Horseman. Email us at mhhshow@gmail.com if you want to be on the show or if you have any questions or comments, because we do read them all. But for now, I'm Corwin.
I'm Turbo Days.
And this has been the Mile High Horseman Show. Mile High Salute. Go Broncos. Mile High Horseman. We ride together. We never give up, man.
Later.
Good night.